Have you seen the war? I have. I have survived many kinds of war. Lying in a dark corridor, squashed between my siblings, the young 10-year-old me tries to convince herself that the sound of the shooting bullet is the lullaby that is sung to put her to sleep. But this time, I had mastered my bedtime routine. The soldiers will fire warning shots, and at the sound of that, the whole family will go down to their knees and would crawl to the corridor for safety. And the young men in the house would climb in the attic to hide, just in case soldiers came to recruit them by force. I was living in a political war room. There was war in my country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and I was in Lubumbashi. No, there were no bedtime stories, no beautiful lullabies to put me to sleep. But there was the shooting sound of the bullet, reminding us to live every single day as if it were our last. As a family, we learned to lean on each other for strength and support. I learned strong values in that moment: faith in God, strength, and resilience. Life eventually got better, and my whole family survived the war, and there was no casualty. Like that, I survived my first war. As life moved on, I was graced with the opportunity to complete my university studies in South Africa and subsequently got married. I did have a few battles for survival in between, but never expected to find myself in a different kind of war. Until lying with my body tilted at what felt like a 45-degree angle to prevent myself from having a premature delivery, the gynecologist and the pediatrician are fighting for different lives at the same time. One for the mother, myself, and the other for the infant. By this time, I already knew what it felt like to have gone through barrenness, multiple miscarriages. I knew what it felt like to go through the pain, shame, and stigma, and to have every second person ask you, when are you having a child? Or when are you having the next one? And I knew what it felt like to suppress the urge to respond, mind your own womb. This time around, though, things were different because I had hit the jackpot. I was becoming a mother of twins, just like it was in my childhood dreams. After a long medical battle, the verdict was given. We have to terminate the pregnancy because it is no longer safe for the mother nor for the babies to keep them in neutral. My response was, you will not terminate the pregnancy, because I knew and had been told that if they had not been kept in neutral for a few more weeks, there was very little chance of survival. My choice was respected. However, I was informed, should you go in labor again, we will not be able to stop it because the infection has reached life-threatening values and you are at the brink of a septic shock. With tears running down and prayers constantly on my lips, I was determined not to give up. I was prepared to go in a headstand position if I had to for the next 3 months so that I could keep my children with me and take them home safely. Lying in that room alone, I am having severe contractions. There's a strong war going on in my body, between my mind and my body. My mind, knowing that it is not time, is trying very hard to suppress the contraction and the pushing motion that my body is performing against my will. The stronger I try to suppress them, the stronger the contractions get, and the more I feel the downward movement of the babies. After a few pushes, I delivered my first baby. There was no crying sound. I rang the bell for help, and a few medical practitioners came in to help. The atmosphere in the room quickly moved from tense to somber as we realized that we had just lost one baby. The war in my body is still going on at that time, as my mind is still trying very hard to suppress the contractions that my body is performing. And as it is, my body takes over, and I'm pushing again. Within a few pushes, I delivered my second baby. There were a few movement and sound, which to me were the sounds of hope. After getting suctioned and wiped, he was handed to me for a quick skin-to-skin. While in my arms, I realized that he wasn't breathing properly but gasping for air. I looked up to them to ask for help. And right there, in my arms, he took his last breath and went to be with the Lord in the company of his brother. There was nothing more that could be done. Both my babies were gone. I was in a war room, the labor ward war room, and this time there were casualties. 2 angels had gone to be with the Lord. For the next 5 years, I lived my life as though I had buried a part of myself in that hospital. I was functional on the outside, climbing the corporate ladder, starting up successful businesses. But on the inside, I was a depressed and dysfunctional human being. Black people don't get depressed, they say. Oh well, I was depressed. And I went to see a psychologist and had a therapist on speed dial because I needed to take important steps in my life. Black mothers don't get postpartum depression, especially not after having waited for so long to have a child. Oh well, postpartum depression is not a myth. I had postpartum depression and took antidepressants to get better. Black families and communities don't talk about things like that. Well, my family and community no longer enjoy those benefits because for this recovery journey, I had to have the conversation with every single one of them. Merci à vous tous de m'avoir écouté. Well, I got support from my family. I got support from my community. I got healing from being heard and being understood. And I got healing from supporting other mothers who were going through the same situation. And I was surprised by the amount of women who are silently going through the same and only opened up when I started talking about my story. And I know many of you are in this room, and my heart goes out for you. Just know that you don't have to go through it alone. There is a community out there for you. To any mother, it is never just another miscarriage or another stillbirth. It is always another child lost. So have a heart for them. I was in another war room, a mental health war room. And this time around, there were no casualty. There was a life, a marriage, a family, and a community saved. Today, I find myself in many other kinds of war rooms, and it is the same faith in God's strength and resilience that I used to be able to fight them. Grief war rooms that saw me losing 2 of my sisters in the space of 6 months, having buried one just under 2 weeks ago. Reposez en paix. Boardroom war rooms, where my existence as a woman in business is sometimes not accepted. Societal fit war rooms, where sometimes the skin color or the language I speak is not the norm for that society. Family war rooms, where sometimes opinion and ideas clash. But through it all, it is the same faith, strength, and resilience that takes me through. Today, you can bring any kind of war my way, and I will fight it, because I know that one thing that I have is a voice and a community. And as long as I have that, together, we will survive those wars. It could be wars in the country, like my country is still going through it at the moment, sadly. It could be wars in the boardroom. It could be wars in society. But the same faith, strength, and resilience is what will carry me through all those wars. From the streets of Lubumbashi in the Democratic Republic of Congo to the stage of Forbes today, my name is Gaëlle Matumbu Munayi. I stand here today, a wife, mother of 3 beautiful children, and 6 angels in heaven, a multi-award-winning business leader, a fierce survivor, and I am a proud African woman.